Alf, we have got a first look at the Snipe functionality. Rick Probstein and I sit down to talk on the back half of this video. Make sure you stay tuned all the way to the end.
You kids are probably asking yourselves, hey, Matt, how can we get back on the right track?
A look at how the functionality is going to work on the Snipe platform. But we also have a story about PSA expanding its offerings. Don't forget to get that $25 off your first PSA submission with the SCD25 code, just a one card minimum. Whew. To try out PSA, make sure to take advantage. All right, on collect.com, we got a Will Stern article, and they are talking about how, hey, look, this was already seamlessly put in on eBay where you can buy an ungraded card that is $250 or higher, and you can just send it off to grade with PSA. So essentially it goes off, goes through authenticity, goes to PSA for grading, and then it would come home to you, right? Sure, you can still do that, but now you can just have it go directly to the PSA vault, to where if you're buying, selling, you're flipping cards, you have a business, you don't even have to touch the card. You can essentially just buy that raw card, grade it out, then you can send it to the vault. You might get an offer, a PSA partner offer through the vault, or you can just put it on eBay and resell it there. So I think for many people, they want to look at the card themselves, they want to wipe it down, they want to make sure that it's good for grading, and that's totally fine. That makes sense. There's also probably other cards where you're not as worried about it. Maybe it's a very rare card, or maybe it's a card that just looks good to you, and you need to have at least 2 photos on the eBay listing to be able to do this. So there's going to be instances where this doesn't work, but if someone's got 10 pictures on it, maybe you feel comfortable, you know what, I think it looks pretty good, we're going to send it off directly to grading. It's just more options through the PSA site. You can't beat more options. And again, the less I have to go to the post office to ship, or the UPS store, or whatever, FedEx, to ship stuff, the more time I have for other things. I think if you are a business owner, a flipper in the space, the eBay PSA connection just makes it very, very seamless. eBay being the largest platform to buy and sell cards in our industry. And then the PSA vault / eBay store is very quickly becoming the #1 consignment company on eBay. So again, whether you're grading with PSA, you're buying, selling on eBay, just making it a lot easier to be able to do this, especially if you run a business.
Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. And match up.
Just a few clicks of the button. I think that the expansion here over the next 12 months, 24 months, as we see the PSA partner program growing and to where you get more offers and then probably more competitive offers as time goes on.
Yeah.
Because you have more PSA partners that are looking at cards right as they're being graded, finishing being graded up. I think that's fun for collectors / speculators / investors to very easily be able to get in and out of cards that they're just trying to buy, sell, flip. Gone are the days where it's a lot of shipping back and forth and, oh, we gotta list this manually, on eBay. It's just gotten a lot easier, and I think that that is going to continue to become more easier as we go over time. Speaking of eBay, we're about to talk with Rick Probstein, who is moving off of eBay. He's actually moved off of eBay. He made his last sale on eBay. It was a $10,000 Rick Probstein bobblehead that sold, and we'll talk about that here in the conversation with Rick. Showed the search functionality of Snipe. Stick around. Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Card Dad. We've got Rick Probstein gearing up for the launch of Snipe in 4 days at time of recruiting. It's coming down to the wire. We've got a couple of things on the site that we want to just kind of talk about, share, because there's some differentiators that I think are pretty cool that we're going to talk through. Rick, the first thing I got to ask you, this popped up. Well, we had kind of texted about this, but yeah, a Probstein bobblehead happened to be the last sale on eBay, if I remember correctly. That was the last sale, and it fetched a hefty sum. Can you talk us through that?
I mean, I just put it up just to be funny. Like, this is my final item, and I was just leaving it up there. And it was actually getting a lot of, back and forth. People were enjoying that was they go to see Probstein, and the only thing up is a bobblehead of me. Some people got a chuckle out of it. I just meant to put it up as a joke. And I put a price that nobody would ever purchase it for. I was offered $500 for it once before, and I said no to it. But I put up for $10,000, and some dude legit bought it, and we shipped it. He paid the whole thing. It's a real transaction. That could be a record for a custom bobblehead on eBay.
I was going to say,
and even more than Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, I don't think that even pro athletes get those sorts of numbers. So you have some groupies out there for sure, some serious fans out there in the world.
Yeah, if
Unbelievable.
this guy showed up at my house, I think I would actually just call the police. I'd be a little nervous. No, I researched the account. I did not know the name, but he's a buyer and he has consigned to us. And clearly he appreciates the historical significance of that bobblehead because I did use it in over 300 eBay lives, and it was a prop that was a part of the show, and that show is what sort of is the precursor to Snipe. So it did have meaning for me, but I was
Wow.
sad to see it go, but also I sort of got over it. I told my wife, and she was just like, "Okay, we could use the money."
Yeah. Well, you didn't. Okay. So this was a screen used bobblehead. If we're, this is like a movie prop, then it was a
Oh yeah, yeah.
screen
This
used.
is like this
So,
is a real legit. This is part of history. So
all right. Well, somebody valued it at $10,000. Now, could this be something that sells kind of like the Babe Ruth card that sold for 7
I didn't
million?
even
That
sign it,
sold
by the way. It was unsigned. Like a lot of
unsigned.
people when it was up, they said you should sign the bobblehead, and I'm like, you know,
Well, that's going to be
yeah.
the next wave of it's going to be Probstein signed bobbleheads like Beanie Babies out there in the universe, taking over
No,
the
I, I,
collectible space.
I I think we have enough different collectibles out there. I mean, what I've learned about collectibles is if you manufacture a collectible trying to make it a collectible, it doesn't become a collectible. And if you don't think that it ever will be a collectible, then it becomes a collectible. So in this case, I had no intention that that bobblehead would ever be a collectible, and obviously now it's a collectible. And if I mass produce them, I probably would get stuck with all the inventory. So we're not going to do that.
All right, well, let's fire this thing up. One thing that we want to talk about was search on Snipe because the way that you guys
Yeah.
are doing search is quite a bit different than what you're seeing on other sites, and it can be a little bit clunky on other sites. So, can you just kind of
Yeah.
walk us through how this is going to look on Snipe?
So I always found it very frustrating on different sites where you have a lot of drop downs in order to, basically give the site the information. So is the card graded? What's the grade? Who graded it? Done bum, a million things. Like I search Google every day. I seem to find whatever I'm looking for pretty quickly, and there's no drop downs. So what we built, and I'll do a demo with you. I just actually don't know how to do a demo from the tool that we're on right now, but I guess you'll show me how to share the screen if we do it. Um, the search is like sort of like you type in like a header, you can type in anything you want, but let's say you just typed in TCG and then you typed in Pokemon, and then you want sealed, and then you want a case. It just will literally like get more and more specific and weed other things out. And it's very cool and it's very efficient. I mean, you can go right to what you're looking for, Pokemon case, and boom, they'll all pop up. But let's say you just start off in a big sense like TCG. Okay, I got 4,000 auctions to work from. Then it drills down. It's just much easier and efficient.
Okay. Now, and I think that you had mentioned this before, but with the live streaming component that will be on Snipe as well, there's going to be because a lot of times you go on to like if you're on a whatnot or something and you're trying to you enter into a room, a lot of times you don't know what the singles are that are coming. If I understand correctly, you'll have this kind of posted up, or the sellers will have this posted up beforehand to where you can actually see, okay, this is a lot of Caitlin Clark, it's a lot of WNBA, like
Yeah.
drilling down into the inventory.
So I did over 300 lives with eBay, and I would think one of the number one pieces of feedback that I got from everybody, and this is one of the reasons why we were motivated to start our own platform, amongst others, is that people were very frustrated. They're like, you sell, one day you're doing jerseys, one day you're doing cards, one day you're doing pokey, one day you're doing this, one day you're doing everything. We just never know. And for some people, that's actually very exciting. They like the randomness and just, being there and they have nothing to do. They're like, like one of our big people, he was like a fireman at an oil field. So I asked the guy, I'm like, what do you do? I'm like, you're on here every day. You've never missed a show. And he goes, I have a really easy job. I'm like, what's your job? He's like, I'm a fireman. I'm like, okay, well, what if there's a fire? He goes, well, I'm a fireman in an oil field. He's like, it never happens. And if it does, you're not going to hear from me for weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay. He's got a lot of time. So he's
Yeah.
literally just sitting there getting paid to watch me in a live stream.
Interesting.
But the big frustration with people is that they just don't know what's coming. And, if you log into a live, you want to know that there's something that you're interested in, So we actually, when we were on eBay, I think our average viewership period was about 25 minutes. And I think overall, the average viewership average is about 4 minutes for other sellers. So, this way, I think that the viewership periods will be much longer because people are only logging on to lives that they're interested in, and that'll be more important. So with us, you can see what's coming, and you can even bid beforehand. Like, let's say there's a live stream coming tonight, and the last second you're like, okay, 8 o'clock, I'm on, and then you're like, your wife is like, we're going to dinner, and then you can put in a snipe onto the live, and you can win the live stream while you are, ordering appetizers with your wife
Without ever being on the live stream.
without ever being on the live stream. And nobody has that. Whatnot does not have that. Fanatics does not have that. eBay does not have that.
Very cool. Okay. Awesome. How are things going just in general? You've got, there's 3 or 4 days to go. I would assume that everything is probably up and running and ready to roll today. It's just that, you probably just crossing the T's, dotting the I's. Is there any kind of last second things? And then also you had mentioned when we were
right now we're just loading in inventory. Stuff is flying in.
That's what I was going to ask.
We have up about 18,000 items. We're on pace for about 18,000 items for the launch on Monday. We felt that it was very important. Like right now we're technically dark. And then when we, come back on, turn the lights back on, we wanted to make sure that when you go on that site for the first time, you're going to be like, you're going to do your search and then you're going to find something that you're interested in. And there's a wide mix. It's sort of very comparable to what we sold previously on eBay. We're sort of like, I've said it before, McDonald's that serves a steak, everything from $25 to $25,000. There'll be tons of high-end great stuff. And then there'll be tons of like, stuff that just people are moving, and there is a seller for everything.
Now, are you going to have it, if I understand correctly, it's going to start on the 3rd, it's going to end on the 17th, so it's a 14-day auction? Is that
normally you can, on the platform, you can actually run a 1-day auction or a 30-day auction.
That's what I was going to ask. If
you have that whole day. But what we did was we locked the platform so nobody can end anything the first 2 weeks. So if another guy wants to do a live stream, he can start advertising and marketing it, but he can't do it until the 17th. We wanted a 2-week period to sort of like do the mass marketing, the mass blitz. And we have a lot of, we have influencers, we have paid ads, we have partners, there'll be a lot that you'll start seeing November 3rd that week, but we're holding everything back until then because we want to have the platform built. And then once we get the word out big time, we want, when they go to the site for the first time, a lot of people have tried to get onto the site, you can't get on. But when November 3rd hits and people go into the platform for the first time, we want to have tons of stuff up there.
All right, so Rick has got the screen share here going, and this is the search functionality. We're going to take a quick look at it.
Yeah, so the whole point is to sort of like avoid all those drop downs that you see on the left-hand side that you get on a lot of other auction sites. And this is how simple. So right now we have 12,000 auctions loaded in and 2,200 are TCG. And then let's say you drill down and you want only Pokemon. You don't want to see One Piece or Yu-Gi-Oh! So boom, now you're at 1,800. And then you're like, you know what? I don't want cards. I just want sealed. And then you're like, you know what? I'm not interested in packs. I just want to buy a case. You type case in and then boom. And then obviously every case, as we've shown before, every case has a video. And that's going to really help with the, the bidder confidence and everything.
I like the video.
Yeah. I mean, everything has a video. You're going to go through the site. We have thousands and thousands of videos that are up on the platform.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the live auction feature.
Yes.
Okay, so here's a scheduled live. This is hosted by me the first night, and we're going to come out and we're going to do a pokey show the first night. And you can actually, so it's scheduled. You get a blurb about the show. You can read more about it. And then you can actually see all the items that are going to be on the show. And you can click in and you can make pre-bids. Okay. And you can actually, let's say you're interested in this case, but you can't, be on because, you're going to be out for dinner with your wife. You can snipe it and bid beforehand without actually being on the live. But this is going to be a very nice feature because now you can search through all the different live shows and you can really figure out, the items that they're going to be selling, and you can decide, you know what, I want to join this live stream because I want to watch and have a good time, or you know what, I want to bid, but I don't actually want to join the live, and we think it'll be a tremendous difference maker.
So when you go in there, Rick, back to the items on the right-hand side, when you click, you basically just, if you're like, okay, I want that sealed case of booster boxes up at the
Yep.
top, you just click on that item, and then it'll give you all the different options, like to bid or, to
Yeah,
Snipe.
right now you can set a pre-bid and you just click in and you can put a Snipe in. And then the pre-bid will hit as soon as the item goes live. The bidding won't populate until the item goes live. So
Yeah.
you won't know, there could be 30 other people who all put in a bid. None of it will show until the actual item goes live.
I feel
Very
like that's
different
kind of nice for sellers too, in a sense, because they're getting the marketing beforehand, and then as soon as they start the live, in many cases they'll probably have bids on a lot of the items.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got kind of another first look at the Snipe platform. Why don't we talk here? You've got a promo that you're running here to finish out the call. Let us know on the promo that you've got going on.
Yeah, so we have first of all, we have a rates deal that will probably last not so long because I'm going to be losing money on it, and I'm not a big fan of losing money. But anything over $1,000 on the platform, whether you sell it yourself or you can sign, it's just 97% goes to you, 3% goes to us, and that includes the Stripe and the PayPal and the credit card transaction fees. And anything below that, as long as it's above $25, you get 95%. So if you sell an item for $200 on the platform, you get $1.90. Kind of hard to beat that anywhere. And then the other promo that we're doing, so the first time you go on, you log onto the site, you set up an account, then you sign up as an affiliate marketer. And that enables you to, if you email out links telling friends, people are going to tell friends anyway. You might as well make money off your friends, right? So you become an affiliate marketer. We approve you. You create links. It could be email or on your social, and it's meant to drive traffic onto the platform. You make money if anybody buys anything on the platform, then you make money. So we're going to be running a contest. We made a sort of like a AI generated fake ad promoting the company. It's kind of cute. You'll see it shortly. And so if you make your own AI generated ad for our company, right, and you have to have in the video somewhere, sell it on Snipe, and then you also have to have snipe.com somewhere in the video, and no copyright infringements, in the video. But you could probably even promote your own video, and we're going to run a contest. And then the very first live that we do on November 17th, we're going to announce the winner, and whoever produces the best fake AI video for Snipe will get, you ready? Drum roll.
Okay, we're ready.
Okay, what would you prefer, $1 million or Super Bowl tickets?
Well, if my Saints were playing in it, which they're not going to, I got to take the million. If the Saints were a contender, I might go Super Bowl tickets. But anyway,
Okay, we're not doing $1 million. We need to save that for the Super Bowl ad. But
Right.
we are giving away a full package of Super Bowl tickets for two. It includes flight, transportation, food, the whole thing. And the winner of the contest will get Super Bowl tickets. And we think that this will be a fun, introduction just to have sort of like, good time. And and on this contest, it's sort of like the ads are fake, but the items are real. So, everything on our platform will be fully authenticated and pre-approved. So fake ads, but real items.
I like that. Fake ads, real items. That's a cool twist. All
Yeah.
right. All right, Rick. Well, the next time you're on the show, you will have launched. So that'll either we'll kind of tell stories about, hey, what's going right and what went sideways or whatever. We'll have a fun time on that next episode.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
All right. All right. Thanks, Rick. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.